Okay, YouTube, welcome back to Rimworld Alpha 7 with the Flying Phent. This is episode number 19. I do apologize for the ending of the last video. I meant to hit spacebar to pause, but instead I hit the stop record button. And then I went ahead and did my sign off. I was like, oh, we need to finish building these lights and put in some floor and then maybe some beds. You know, and blah, blah, my usual ranting about stuff. And, oh, then we can get blue and snow better at shooting. And then I looked over and realized there was no recording happening. I was like, no, did I not record that episode? And that's when I realized instead of hitting spacebar to pause, I hit my end record key. So you missed my sign off, but there you go. It was about putting in floor, some lights, and then getting blue and potentially snow even trained on shooting. That's all you missed in that sign off. And then, of course, the thanks for watching, which by now you should know I am eternally grateful for. But I still want to say it every episode. I want to let you guys know how thankful I am that you come and watch and that you subscribe and that you send likes and make comments and give me suggestions and advice or just chit chat or just ask for things, anything to let me know that there's some engagement going on, that people are interested. I really like that. I like knowing that people are interested in enjoying it. Entertaining other people. I almost said enjoying other people. Ooh, that is something else entirely. Entertaining other people is one of the reasons why I started doing this. Lights are going in. Is there enough? You do have enough metal. She just took a break, so she should get them. There we go. Oh, look, it's so nice with lights. The lighting effects really kind of make this game look pretty. And of course, they only mine when there's mining, when there's nothing else to do, so it doesn't hurt to just keep it designated. It's not like it will take them away from other duties. I suppose it does. It keeps them from cleaning and stuff because they have been told to prioritize the mining. But that's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. Is it bedtime? It's bedtime. Everyone's asleep. Oh, Snow still has no light. He's the only one sitting in darkness. Even the one lone hospital bed has light. I guess we know who Blue's least favorite person is. Speaking of hospital, shoot. I'm going to go ahead and put in 4 hospital beds. I'm also going to add some more inmate beds. This way we'll be prepared for whatever eventualities come. Oh, and there's some lights for the jail. Oh, I love it. And there's beds are going to go in right away. Alright, so prisoners, medical. That way it's both for prisoners and for medical. I want more mining. Designate there and there. Oh, you're finally going to do his light, are you? No. You're just going to tease him. You're just going to tease Snow just a little bit. You'll put the basis for the lights and then just leave the parts lying on the floor. There you go, lights going in. Good work. Are these beds in yet? No. You're still prioritizing lights. Okay, that's fine. I don't mind that. So long as you realize that you're going to have to do beds eventually. Lights. Is there enough metal there for another couple of lights? No. There's only 5 metal left, so she'll grab that, then she'll go mine. Unless Virgil beats her to dropping stuff off, he did, so she'll grab that. No, she won't, she'll go to bed. So she now has enough metal to build the last light. And then she should go put in these beds. Oh, no, there's another light to do as well. Oh, and there's these 2 lights. Shoot. Are we still generating positive flow? We do. We have 1,000 positive flow. Nice. That'll get chewed into with more turrets, though, and I definitely do plan on having more turrets. At least 1 here. I'd like to put 1 more on each side here, so there's 3 more turrets. That's almost 1,000 watts right there, which is our 1,000 watts of excess storage. And then putting turrets on this thing, don't know if I need them. This is where the people are going to be. It might not hurt to put, you know, like a turret here maybe, and a turret here. Anyone trying to get to these sides will get attacked by these turrets as well, I think. But it wouldn't hurt to have it there, because people may go back and forth in between. My goal, long term, is to basically have a autonomous defense, right? So that my people can go about their business and the turrets will just protect them. That'd be the ideal scenario. Scenario, however you want to pronounce that. It's not a debate I've heard. I've heard the tomato and the potato. Actually, I've never heard the potato. I don't know anyone who calls it potato, which is my argument on how we know that potato is the correct, how we know that tomato is the correct pronunciation and not tomato. My argument that tomato is wrong is that if you change the first T to a P, would you call it potato? No, you would call it potato. Therefore, why do you call it tomato and not tomato? Oh no, they're just cargo pods. I was hoping it was another. Another person. But yeah, if you think about it, all you British, I'm sorry, I shouldn't call you British. All the English or Aussies or Kiwis who call it tomato sauce, tomato paste, tomato puree, or even just tomato juice. If you think about it, it doesn't make sense. It should be tomato. It should be tomato because you don't say potato, and it's the exact same spelling. That's my argument. It is foolproof. The only argument for tomato is that that's how the Queen says it, and it is the Queen's English. That's the only argument for it. The only one. But let's face it, that's a pretty weak argument. Do we really do what the Queen says? Does anybody? Realistically? I don't think so. So these are all medical beds because this is the hospital. And let's go ahead, actually. Under furniture. Under wood bed. Let's get these kitted out and ready. So that when we have someone who wants them, they can just slide right into their cottages. There's a fair amount of spare metal now lying on the floor, which is fantastic. Once Blue is sort of working on the beds, I'm going to go ahead and put in these two doors. Actually, I might as well just zone them now. What does it matter? Wood auto doors. Bang, bang. Blue's a smart girl. She's doing the close beds first. That's good. In case you didn't catch on, by the way, I don't really care how you say tomato or tomato. I don't think one is inherently right or wrong. I don't personally care. It's like the granary debate. I don't really care which way you want to say it. I say greenery. Even though I know it's wrong because that's how I've always said it, and I've never been able to adjust and correct myself. But I recognize that granary is the correct pronunciation for it. There's a few things like that I pronounce incorrectly, but I know I pronounce them incorrectly, but for the life of me can't seem to pronounce them properly. And so I just am doomed to forever pronounce them incorrectly. It's kind of sad, but what can you do about it, you know? It kind of makes me cry. Group of visitors. Man, what do I have to do to get a crashed pod here? With a survivor in it. I don't even care if the survivor's wounded. Just give me a pod. Give me a oh, it's too big. We can't, if we just put down like little corner pieces, will they work? Will they count as supports, and will it fill it in the roof? Like, will they be pillars, or do you actually have to? Would I actually have to put walls in? Where'd you go? Where did she go? Oh, here she is. Ah, no, there we go. That does work as supports. Perfect. I may need to put another couple of supports here, though. I don't think that's going to do it. Yeah, we'll need to put another couple of sports, but that's fine. I think that looks cool. Okay, and then it's a question of furniture, standing lamp. You got a lot of building to do, Blue. There you go. You're getting to work on the lamps already. You don't mess around. You're like, screw those walls. I can have a hole in the middle of the room. I don't care. But, of course, bed took priority. Fair enough. Fair enough. So get this, I've used Amazon for a while. I think they're a fantastic company. I don't know anything about their treatment of employees or what have you. So, you know, if they happen to be borderline slave laborers, then definitely let me know. Because as far as I understand it, they're a perfectly respectable company in terms of their treatment of employees and whatnot. But yeah, I've been using them for a while and I've never really had any problems with them. I will say I don't like that now you can order stuff from Amazon, and Amazon's kind of like eBay now where it comes from who knows where, you know? I don't like that. I just want stuff from Amazon, because when it comes from other people, you never know what you're getting. You almost never get a tracking number. You never know where it's coming from or how long it's going to take. Amazon, I know if I order on Monday, it'll be here by Thursday or Friday. Perfect example, I needed a cable. I ordered it from a place called like Mobile Cables Canada, it said was the name of the store, and I checked and it said, you know, available for shipping in Canada, ships from Canada. They had Canada in the name. Amazon didn't carry a cable like I needed, so I was like, fine, I will get it from these people. It's shipping from Canada, so it should be here quick. And when Amazon sent me the information saying it has been shipped, it was like, it is being shipped by Hong Kong Post, and I was like, ah. So it took like 3 weeks to get here, right? Because it just came through, it was basically in the mail, but it was Hong Kong mail. So it was just ridiculous. So I don't like that. I wish everything just came from Amazon because I know what I'm getting. Plus, you never have to pay customs or duty with Amazon because they ship it to themselves. Like, even if I go on Amazon.com and order something, as long as it's available for import into Canada without import taxes, that's the key. Duty is fine. As long as there's no import taxes on what you order, Amazon will ship it to themselves and then deliver it to you. So, like, it goes to it's addressed to you when it comes across the border, but it's designated to go to their own brokerage firm, so you don't have to pay duty or brokerage or holding or any of that type of stuff because it's all covered by Amazon's own shipping. But when it's not shipped by Amazon, you have no guarantee that that is going to be the case. Look at that. This whole room is done. All right. Zones. Zone. Not dumping. Normal stockpile. Right there. And while we're at it, floors. It's going to take a lot of wood, but it's going to be worth it because we're going to have this beautiful warehouse. And that reminds me, these floors need to get done as well. We have this beautiful warehouse. So this is now going to be... No, I want to select the... Select the warehouse, please. There we go. This is now going to be low, so that it all gets moved into here. Virgil's going to be happy. He's going to have a ton of hauling to do. And that's just his favorite thing in the world. Actually, I don't think it is, but it's what I've told him to prioritize, and therefore, it has kind of become his favorite thing in the world out of necessity. Yeah, so... I like Amazon, is the story that I was telling. I don't like the way that it's kind of become like eBay, but if all I do is when I pick items I want to buy, I just, in the filter list now, I just say, you know, sold by Amazon.ca or sold by Amazon.com or Amazon.co.uk, although I've never had to order anything from there because anything that's on co.uk is on either .ca or .com, and it's quicker for it to ship to me rather than ship across the pond. So... I ordered some stuff, and for the first time ever, something came and it was broken when I got it. So I was like, oh, I don't even know what to do because I've never had a problem. So I go to the Amazon website, I pull up the order details, and there's a button right there that says, you know, if there's a problem with your order, click it. So I click there. What's the problem? I said, it's broken. I need to replace it. And then it takes me to a page that says, which item is it? And it shows all the items in your order, and it separates into things that can be returned and things that can't. And so the item is in the category of can't be returned. And I was like, what the? But I paid money for it and it came broken. That's nonsense. So I went to the contact us page. I went to send an email to customer service, and oh, you can actually see the wire on the floor. Cool. Yeah, so I went to customer service, and I clicked on the email, and it didn't work. The link was broken. I was like, oh, this is garbage. So I was very disappointed. I'm like, this is going to be like Facebook, where you try and get in touch with them and no one ever answers you. I was trying to make an application for Facebook. That's why I wrote to their customer service and literally never heard a word. They didn't answer. Not, we got your email, working on it, not an automated, nothing. Dead silence. So I did some Google search, and it turns out that's the way they work. They just never write to you. Same problem with Google. I had some issues with some Google products. I was working on mapping software, and some of the Google Map information was incorrect. So I tried to get in touch with Google, and there is literally no one at Google to talk to. It all went through like a user run forms. That's like Google made the forms, but there isn't a single Google employee on it from what I can tell. It's all just other users. And they're like, no, you're wrong. And I'm like, well, half of the other things are labeled this way. Why can't this one be labeled that way? And you're like, oh, that's wrong. The other one should be changed. And yet one of the changes that I had put through was approved by some Google moderator. So I don't even know. But it seems that no one at Google will ever talk to you, to the best of my knowledge, from working with the Google Maps stuff. So I figured Amazon just isn't going to talk to anybody, right? They have these links, but they don't work. So I clicked on the chat, the Amazon chat with support thing. And it comes up and it says, oh, such and such is talking to you. And it's like the name was a type of name that I did not recognize. I don't even remember what it was, but I remember looking at it and being like, what kind of name is that? So while I was waiting, because I figured it would be a while, while I was waiting, I figured I'll Google it, see what the origin of this name is. And it turns out that it was like an Indian name. And I was like, oh, so I'm getting our chat support is in India, just like their call center. Which, that's my fault for making an assumption, right? There are people from India living in America and Canada. There's no guarantee just because someone has an Indian name. Just because the guy's named Pranesh, it doesn't mean that he lives in Mumbai. He could live in New York City for all I know. And his grandparents could have been born in New York City. He doesn't even have to be like a new generation North American. He could have been here for his whole life. So that was my bad for making that assumption. I don't remember what his name was. It wasn't Pranesh, but that's just the only one that I can think of because I know I was good friends with an Indian guy named Pranesh. In any case, so I explained to him my problem. Right? I'm like, the thing is broken, but it says I can't return it. And he was like, oh, yeah, that just means we don't want it. Like, if it means it can't be returned, it means that we can't resell it. So it's of no use to us. If it's broken, then I'll send you a refund and you can just throw the broken one out. And I was like, oh, well, that's good. Because I was going to have to pay for shipping and all kinds of nonsense, right? So I was like, okay, I guess you'll refund it and I'll just order another one then. And he was like, oh, you want the same thing? And I'm like, yeah, I want the same thing. I just don't want it to be broken. And he was like, well, then I won't refund you. I'll just send you a free one. And I was like, well, that's even better. Thank you. I'm just going to call him Pranesh because I don't remember what his name was. So I said, thank you, Pranesh. And he was like, no problem. Anything else? And I was like, no, that's it. So that whole long-winded thing is just to say Amazon is still fantastic. I'm very impressed with that. It's not often when you order products, even when it's not your fault, even when it's plainly the company's fault and it's broken, where they're like, no, you have to ship it back to us and yada, yada. I had a Alienware computer a long time ago, and their customer service was absolutely abysmal. And then when it did determine that it was a hardware problem, basically the computer arrived and didn't work. I called them. We did troubleshooting. The techs had no idea what they were doing. And I say they had no idea because when I said the computer doesn't post, the guy was like, I don't know what that means. And I was like, you've never heard of posting? And he was like, yeah, that's like sending a letter, right? In England. And I was like, no, that's the beeping when you first turn on your computer. And he was like, oh, I didn't know that had a name. And I was like, tech support. And I used to do tech support, so I get that you get a mix of people doing the job, but everyone should know what post is if you're in tech support, as far as I'm concerned. So anyways, then he was like, oh, once I finally did, I told him every now and then it passes post. But then when it boots into Windows, there's like no graphics drivers at all. So I'm looking at like 640 by 480 resolution, and I'm sure it's a graphics problem. Quite obviously, it's a graphics problem. And if you remove the graphics card, then it would boot fine. But of course, then you had no graphics. You had no video. So anyways, I get it into Windows, and the guy tries to download like a patch for Crysis. Because he's like, oh, let me take control of your computer. And I'm like, okay, fine. But it would have been faster for me to do it. So I installed their little support thing. He takes control of my computer and tries to download this Crysis patch. And I'm like, Crysis is not even installed on my computer. And he's like, oh, but this resolves issue with the texture filtering. And I'm like, dude, this is Windows. Windows isn't loading when the computer even boots. This is not a texture filtering problem. This is a busted hardware problem. And this would have all been resolved. It's funny because if you're on Alienware, they sent you like this big explanation about how it went through like, and I should note, ever since Dell bought them, this process has changed. So don't take this as a review on Alienware as it stands today. This was Alienware when I bought this machine like a decade ago. So yeah, so they send you this thing saying, oh, it's gone through 130 steps or whatever, but not a single one of those steps involves turning it on after it's been put together. And I was like, that is really the only step I would have cared about. Put it together, turn it on. If it doesn't work, then fix it. I don't care if you tested the voltages of the capacitors on the motherboard. I don't care. If it turns on and works, I'm a happy man. If it doesn't, then it doesn't matter what the voltages are. It's obviously busted. So yeah, finally we get it determined that it's a hardware problem. And the guy's like, oh, we'll send you a new video card, and then you'll have to send us the old video card back. And you can just put it in the exact same box that the replacement video card will come in. And I'm like, but won't it have my address on it? And he was like, no, trust me, it'll be fine. So I'm like, okay, I'll trust you. So they ship out a new video card to me. I get it. And before they shipped it out, they needed a credit card number so they could bill me for like $850 for the price of this friggin' video card. Just in case I don't send them the other one back, then they'll bill me for it. And I'm like, this is fantastic. Like, you have all of my credit information. So I was like, that's garbage, but fine, whatever. I get you're the large corporation who, if I get ripped off by one company, that's not a big deal. But if you guys get ripped off by 100 clients, that's going to add up pretty quick. So fine, I gave them my credit card number, even though I thought it was nonsense. So I received the package, and it's in a FedEx box. And I asked the delivery guy, I say, hey, they said to send the broken thing back. I just put the broken thing back in this box, tape it up, and then call you guys, and you come. And he's like, no. That's never going to work because the tracking number is to you. The only way that would work is if you put like return to sender on it. But then if you've taken something else, taken something out and put something back in, you're committing fraud, right? You're trying to ship something for free. Female gender. Oh, sorry, Blue. You're going to be upset. So he's like, so that would be fraud. So I don't recommend you do that. So I put the new thing in, I got it up and running, which was non-trivial. The motherboard and the graphics card, it turns out, had software incompatibilities, like driver incompatibilities. That was reported on the page of both the motherboard vendor and the graphics card vendor. So I'm like, Alienware, why are you even selling this combination when they don't even work together? Like, Anyways, I finally got it working with some updates to firmware and hardware, and the original one was broken. It wasn't a firmware problem on the original card. So I finally got it. More cargo. I want a person, not cargo. Uranium. I don't even know what to do with uranium. Holy smokes. So I get it up and running. So I call Alienware back, and I'm like, okay, it's up and running. I have the old card here. FedEx says I can't just put it in that original box. And the guy's like, yeah, you can. And I'm like, well, FedEx says no, and they're the people who are going to pick it up. So what do you want me to do? He's like, oh, no problem. What we can do is we can send you a box, an empty box, inside another box. And the box on the inside will be pre-stamped and addressed, and you'll be good to go. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. So he's like, let me put you on hold and I'll get the information. I'm like, okay. So I'm on hold for like 20 minutes and he comes back and he's like, oh, it turns out we can't do it because you happen to live in Canada and we only service the major centers in Canada. And I'm like, dude, I live in Toronto. It's the biggest city in Canada. I mean, I haven't always lived here. I'm not one of those, if you're from Canada, you're like, oh, another upper Canadian who thinks Toronto Center Universe. I'm not from Toronto. I just live here now because my work made me live here. And I mean, I like it here. It's a nice place, but I'd also like to go somewhere else. You know, I like to travel, I like to see the world. So don't think I'm like all stuck up. My point is, it's Toronto. If you're going to offer a service to somewhere in Canada, you're going to offer it in Toronto. And the guy's like, oh, we don't do that to like remotely populated areas. And I'm like, is Toronto? There's only like 8 cities in North America that are bigger. And that might not even be true. It might be less than that. I know that Toronto Pearson is like the 5th busiest airport in North America and the 13th busiest in the world. So like it's a big friggin' city, right? Like it's bigger than, like if you offer the service in Cleveland, you should offer the service here, you know? So anyways, after he tells me he can't do it, he's like, you're just going to have to like pay to return ship it. And then he's like, make sure you put full insurance on it as well. And I was like, yeah, I don't friggin' think so. So I went down to the FedEx building. Or no, he said don't put any insurance on it because they were going to pay, right? He's like, once you've shipped it, call us back. And once we've received it, we can then credit you for the cost of shipping. So I'm like, this is such a friggin' hassle. And the guy's like, make sure you don't put any insurance on it because it's already broken. And I'm like, if it's already broken, why do you even want it back? Like, anyway, whatever. I get they need it back. I'm not complaining about that. It's the idea that they had to charge my credit card and that it's vital they get it back or they're kind of charging me $800 and yet they want no insurance on it because it's already broken. It just seems so contradictory, you know? In any case, I go down to the FedEx office. And by now I'm angry, right? Not only is their support useless, they don't even know what post means, and then tried installing patches for games to resolve a Windows problem or a hardware problem, a not posting problem. But then all this shipping nonsense and, oh, Canada is sparsely populated. We only offer the service to large urban centers. It's like, well, that's nonsense right there. So I go to the FedEx office and I'm talking to the lady at the counter. So I'm livid, right? So I'm kind of venting to her about how annoying and stupid this is. And she's like, that's ridiculous. Who's it from? So I told her and she's like, so they just sent you a package. And I was like, yeah. She's like, hang on. So she goes in, she finds the package they sent to me. And of course they build it to their corporate account. And she's like, I have their corporate account number right here. I'll just bill to their corporate account. And I'm like, can you do that? She's like, we're not supposed to because they're technically not authorizing it, but whatever. What are they going to do? Fire me? And I was like, holy crap. So that's what she did. She billed it to them. And then she was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put full insurance on this package. And I'm like, well, they said no insurance. And she's like, what are they going to do? Sue you? And I was like, they have my credit card number. And she was like, yeah, well, it's your call, but I think it's worth it. So I was like, well, how much is the full insurance? And she was like, oh, for a package that the value of like $850, the insurance is like $300 and some dollars. I was like, wow. So whatever. She ended up shipping it with full insurance, billed to their company, whatever. They got it. They refunded my credit card completely. No one said it. And I didn't hear from them again for like 8 months till they sent me an email that said, oh, please tell us how your customer experience went. And I told them how absolutely abysmal and horrible it was. And went through all the details of all the problems that I have and never heard from them. No, we're sorry. No like follow up. No, nothing. Just never heard from them. And then like 3 months later, they were bought by Dell. And it's my understanding that things are much better now. It was just my experience with them was so hilarious. I felt like that was a good story, especially the lady who was like, I'll just bill it to their account. Are you allowed to do? Is that allowed? She's like, I don't know what they can do. Fire me. And I was like, all right. She was pretty cool. She's a very helpful lady. That's good customer service in the face of bad customer service right there. All right, so all of our lights are in, all of our floors are in. Look at that stockpile all got hauled. So I went ahead and removed it. You noticed that. I was busy telling my story, so I didn't fill you in on what I was doing, but I'm sure you noticed it. Wow, we dug all the metal out of there. That's crazy. I didn't think that we had, but we did. So I guess we can do research. And we can train people. I do, as well as I mentioned, I'm going to move my garbage stockpile over here and get all these rocks out of here so that we're ready to go. And then once we're able to make, I guess, I was going to say out of rock, but I don't think there is rock floor, is there? paved tile, but it's metal, right? All this stuff is metal. Oh, stone blocks. Once you can make stone blocks, I'll put stone tile paths. Oh, I didn't actually mean to. I didn't think you would let me, because I don't have any. But yeah, that's... Ah, crap, and you remove. Darn it. Redo. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and put paths in as well. And then we're pretty much going to be set, right? It's going to be all about putting people in and waiting for the disaster that wipes us out. But that'll be in a future episode. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.